Hi guys, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. What you see in the vise is a Humungus Booby. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hackle H900 barbless hook. It's at size 8. It's finished on a heavy wire in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Simplify. It is the Nano Silk at 1000D or 6/0 if you like, and as you can see it's white. As always with the Nano Silks, we're going to get a little spot of super glue onto the shank of the hook, and I'll use my silk just to spread that up and down the shank. Then I can catch in behind the eye and get a bed of silk onto the shank. I want to come just past the hook point, and then I can come in and take away my rat's tail. Now, as always with the long fibre tails or length of tail, I like to get a little bump in on my tying thread, and this just helps with hook fouling down the line. I'm going to bring my thread all the way back up to about 1/2 centimetre from the eye of the hook. Now, the first material to go down is going to be some of this. Now, I can't remember what it's called. I've had it in my box forever. It's silver and pearl, and it's got some UV fibres in. Now, what I want to do with this, silver will do if you haven't got this, and I don't even know what it is, so I can't tell you, but I've used it on lots of different flies. So I want to strip out probably about 5 mils worth, and I'm going to cut it like so. And I'm not overly worried about the length at the minute. I'm going to dress it up to the shank of the hook and catch that in. Once I've got it started, I'm going to try and lift and bring everything on to the top of the shank. Don't want it sliding roundabouts the bottom. And I'll bring that all the way back to where I created my little bump. Now obviously the length here, it's going off the end of the camera, but I don't want all that length. So what I'm going to do is come in with my scissors and just randomly cut. I don't want it to be too uniformal away some of the fibres, and that's looking not too bad. Little sparkly bit. Next thing then, we're going to add some Marabou over the top, but first of all I'll bring my thread back to about 1/2 centimetre from the eye, and I've got a plume of Marabou here. This is from Comet Candy, unfortunately no longer available, but it was called the Lunar UV White. If you are after Marabou now, I would suggest Dave Downey is the go-to man for quality, but you can see here there's not much wrong with the quality of this plume. So I'm going to take a good pinch of Marabou with my thumb. I'm going to fold that over like so, and then the waist white bit I'm going to come in and just remove. Then I can come in with my thread, catch that in, and bring it all the way up the body. And that's looking not too bad. Just tidy that up a little bit at the front here, and I'm fairly content with that. Now, the next thing then is to tie in the wire rib, and what I'm using is some Simplify silver wire. It's 0.1 millimeters, nice and thin. Its sole job is to look after the hackle, which we'll be coming on to shortly. So I'll catch that in at my side and bring that up to the base of the fly. Just tuck that behind my handle out the way. Now, this next ingredient, it might seem a little strange, But what I'm going to be using is some dry fly poly yarn. Now, as you can see, it's meant for dry flies, but what I like about this is when you're fishing with a fly, this material will trap in lots of air bubbles and just give it another dimension. I mean, we are going to tie two massive booby eyes to the front of the fly, so floating on the surface is not really high on my concern list. Now I'm going to get several extra turns in here, then I can use the rotary function on my vise just to bring my body material over. Just slide it up there. And plus, I like the colour. You can use other things. I think in the original Humungus they use like a micro fritz for the white one, a silver micro fritz. I did look for that, but I've misplaced it at the minute. Hence me adapting to using the polygon. But it's not a showstopper. I'm a great believer in using what you've got. There's no need to rush out to the shops and start buying lots of new materials to tie flies. That's just nonsense. So I'll just tamp down that Marabou. Don't want it fluffing about and being in my way. Next thing, I'm going to add in my Hackle, and I've got a grizzle cape here, and I've already selected a feather from the grizzle cape. Now with this, what you want to do is get rid of the waste at the bottom here. So I'm just going to use my thumb and forefinger to strip that back. Then I can come in and just leave enough to tie in. And before I tie it in, I am going to add a little bit of wax to my nano silk. This just helps to grip the stalk when I tie it in. I'm not happy with the placement, just come off again. In fact, I'm holding the feather the wrong way around for a kickoff. I want the underside to come first. There we go. I think I've just about got it right that time. I just want to create some room for my booby eyes going in and somewhere for them to sit. So I've got that well tied in, that's not coming out of there anytime soon. And what I need next is my Hackle pliers. I'll catch in the tip of the feather and then come around like so. And then I can work my way up the body, trying to keep the turns nice and even. And then when I'm at the butt end of the fly, I'm going to follow my Hackle round, chase the Hackle, but it's really what works for you. I've just changed to this way. I used to go the opposite direction to the Hackle, but somebody said to me, oh, you should always chase the Hackle. And since then, this is what I've done. Is it any easier? I'm not sure. Does it make any difference? Not at all. Do whatever makes you happy. So I'll bring that to the front, catch my wire rib in. There's a couple of fibres just come astray there, I can see, but we can slick them back as we tighten up. And then I can simply twist my wire rib away, then come in with my scissors and remove the excess Hackle. So far so good. Now the next thing is our booby eyes. Now if you watched several of my videos in the past, you'll know that I have a video showing you how to get to this tic-tac point, which I'll put up in the top left hand corner there. So the first thing to do is locate the little hole that I'm using, wrap it round, just make sure you're getting your eyes nice and even, slick everything back, then catch the eyes in a figure of 8 motion. I'm going to do 6 one way and 6 the other. Now at this point I'll come to the front and get a couple of turns in, and if you want to finish the fly at this point, a bit of super glue in over the top, can't seem to find my thread there, and then a bit of super glue in below, and the job's a good one. But if you want a nice fancy fly with the eyes, stay tuned and I'll show you how I do that. So what I'm using is from Nature Spirit. They're a little silver and black eye, 1/8 of an inch. Now they come on a little card like this, and I find the best way is to get a bodkin needle and simply peel them off. Now they are adhesive, so I'll do your side first. You can pop them on there. Now I might like to add, actually, I'm only doing this because it's something that's available to you if it interests you. If you're looking at this from, does it make any difference to the fly's ability to catch fish? I would argue absolutely not. It just looks good. Now once you've got them roughly where you would like them, you're not finished. So we're going to finish this fly off by coming in over the top, get some super glue in between them eyes, and that'll soak into the thread. And I'm going to come underneath, get a little bit of super glue onto the silk, and then I'm going to get plenty of super glue over the tops of the eyes. So although they've got a little bit of adhesive to keep them in place, and that's all they do, they keep them in place until you get to this point. I do hope that's been of some use to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.